What do you think is important about diversity?
I think diversity is great in an educational setting or in life because you learn from different people, from their cultures, from their viewpoints, new ways to look at situations and new ways to interact with people on many levels.
Why do you think we have a Black History Month?
I think we have a Black History Month because black people throughout civilization has gone through a whole lot of stuff in their life, and it's important that we remember all the people that have come a long way and made a lot of headway for African Americans over the years.
What experiences with diversity have you had in your life?
Well, coming from a very small town, I've really experienced no diversity in my life until I came to Robert Morris. In my hometown, it's a very white population. It's very small. Everyone knows everyone. So coming here was a big change for me because I saw exchange students, I saw African American students, and it was different. But I've adjusted well, and Robert Morris has done a good way with the speakers they've had, and all the fun activities that we do. That it just gets everyone together.
Why do you think Black History Month is a good thing?
Why do you think it's a good thing? I think Black History Month is important because I think all of our history is important. It's important to see where we've been so that we can know where we're going. And the more that we know about history, the more we can repeat the good things, not bad things. So I think it's a history of a people is an exciting thing to know and be in touch with and be growing from.
Steve, who do you think's the most influential African American in history?
Well, it's hard to put a label on it because there's so many, but just to name a few: Dr. King, Malcolm X, Thurgood Marshall, Jackie Robinson, Reggie Jackson,
to Barack Obama.
Tyler, what do you think is important to understand about Black History Month?
Well, it might sound a little cliche, but I think what's most important is that everybody looks back on the past and they realize the mistakes that have been made, and that you just recognize things that black people have contributed to everyday culture.
Just how much we've progressed in the last couple of years. I mean, it was like 80 years ago that there was still segregation in this country, and 15 years ago there was still segregation in my country. And we've all progressed from that, and we're moving on forwards and learning from our mistakes.
Drew, can I ask you a question? Who was the most influential African American in American history, and why?
Bob Marley.
Why?
Because his message was to spread love and peace.
What do you think is important to take away from Black History Month?
I think it's pretty much you should learn from your past and pay homage to everybody that had to go through all the struggle to get where we're at. Now that we have a black president and everything, you can see that people back then were making progress. And you should just continue to make progress now.
Just to realize what went on in the past and not to be ignorant towards our history, you know what I mean? Just learning from past experiences and appreciate what we have today, you know, as far as voting and be able to sit in the front and just to being able to have our voice being heard, because it was important, you know, and to be ignorant towards it's wrong and it's not right, and it's like, it's being disrespectful to our elders, you know. So it's important to know the real essence of Black history and to acknowledge our month and our history.
What do you think is important to reflect on about the month of Black History?
Black History Month is important because it reminds us of everything that African Americans went through. It makes us aware of the things that we've contributed to this country, the things we've contributed to people's lives.
What do you take away from Black History Month?
Well, I just think it's great. All the great things that the black community's done for the world today.
All the steps that our country's taken, being diverse and everybody's okay with it. Like example, our president.
I'd say diversity is important on a college campus because everyone comes from a different kind of background, ranging from the person who comes from a small town who's only been surrounded by people like themselves to someone who comes from an extremely well-diverse place like in a inner city school who might see all kinds of different populations. So it really exposes everybody to somebody new and helps them form the person that they're going to be and become well-rounded.
Diversity to me means, knowing of people of different countries and, learning their cultures so we can one day, work together and create like world peace.
So Cleveland, who are some notable figures in American history that have helped empower African Americans?
Okay, Frederick Douglass. He was an abolitionist in the mid-1800s. He helped spread the word about slavery. Its adjutant ills.
Anybody else?
In the early 20th century, W.E.B. Du Bois was an active, one of the first black member of the NAACP, an organization which was collected in order to help black people attain professional standing and other things like that. The later part, middle 20th century, Martin Luther King, of course, most people are familiar with. He helped people, and he helps achieve rights for people like not only blacks but Jews, Italians, people who had disabilities, and he was an active proponent who helped pass the Civil Rights Acts, also forbid discrimination based on age or gender.
Black Think, My Life as a Black Man and a White Man was a biography written by Jesse Owens with Paul Neimark in 1971. The book is an overall record of Owens' feelings about America's racial crisis. During the book, Owens stated, "The battles that count aren't the ones for the gold medals. The struggles within yourself, the invisible, inevitable battles inside all of us, that's where it's at." How does this quote affect your everyday life?
Well, I understand that Owens was one of the few Americans who was placed in a really awkward position because he was one of the first black people to win an Olympic event in a country which was incredibly racist, probably more racist than the United States was at that time. And this not only it brought awareness to the world during the Olympic event in the 1930s and 40s, but it brought attention to both the U.S. as well, to get us to understand our own prejudices and our own experiences, even as we were gearing up to fight the fascists in Europe.